Hi, today I want to discuss how we can use StatsBomb open data to get the football data, to manipulate it and see what kind of conclusions we can draw from it. So first thing first, what's a StatsBomb? Well, it's a football data and analytics provider. They collect data from different football matches, call these data points as events, organize it, and sell to interested parties like football clubs, scouts, journalists, gambling companies, and so forth. The event data collection has roughly 3,000 events per single match and includes lots of different points and events like pressures, shoots, passes, possession chains, and many more. The data generated from a blend of computer vision and human-driven collection with validation and quality assurance. So despite StatsBomb sells its data, it also has so-called StatsBomb open data. The company is committed to sharing new data and research publicly to enhance understanding of the football. They want to actively encourage new research and analytics at all levels. So for this reason, they have made certain leaks of StatsBomb data freely available for public use, for research projects, and for those who are just interested in finding out more about football analytics. You can find the link to the open data in this presentation, but make sure to read the user agreement, because once you start using this data, you are agreeing to this agreement. So what's the StatsBomb open data structure? Well, first of all, StatsBomb open data is a JSON object. So these JSON files are being exported from the StatsBomb Data API in the following structure. First of all, there is a competitions.json file. It contains competitions and seasons along other information inside. Matches for each competition and season stored in matches folder. Each folder within this matches folder is named for competition ID, and each file is named for a season ID within that competition ID folder. And finally, there are also events and lineups for each match, which are stored in events and lineups folders respectively. Yeah, it will be much more easy to understand how it all works once we move to coding stage, because now it's a bit complicated. And make sure to read about the meaning of different events and the format of JSON objects, the JSON files in StatsBomb documentation. You can find the link in the presentation below. We can go to a StatsBomb repository, open data repository. Here it is, and you can find this data folder. Let's have a look what it has. And it has events, lineups, matches folder, and competitions.json file, just like I told you when I was describing the structure. So let's move to the coding. I've prepared this Jupyter notebook to get the data from the StatsBomb open data and to work with this. So first of all, here we load some important libraries we'll be working with. These are pandas and requests. Let's run it. Okay, once we see there is this number instead of blank space, it means it ran successfully. Now let's load the competition file, which is competitions.json. You can find it over here from the StatsBomb open data folder at GitHub. And we do this, and by doing this, we'll have a look what we got to this competition variable. Okay, so this is the JSON file, competitions.json. We can basically check. Let's go to the competition. Let's open this file, and we have, for example, we can check competition ID 16, season ID 4. Let's see what we got. Competition ID 16, season ID 4. So basically it is the same file which we just loaded to a competitions variable here. Now let's print all the competitions with competition ID and season ID, which are this and this. So we'll print all the competitions StatsBomb provide us data with. So to do this, we are just looping each competition within this competitions variable. Let's run it. Okay. So what we got? We have a competition name, which is Champions League, a season name, which is here. This is the season. Next, we have competition ID, which is 16, and season ID, which is here. So as you can see, Champions Leagues, for example, have the same competition ID. Why? Because it is the same competition. On the other hand, if we look at season ID, we see that each season has different season ID. Why? Because despite unlike the competitions, the seasons are different. Okay, so that's why the competition ID for Champions League for the same competition is the same, while for seasons, the season ID is different, which is logical. Assume we want to focus on, for example, World Cup results, World Cup competition. And to do so, we need to get the competition ID, which is for the 3, and the season ID, which is 3. Let's store these IDs in respective variables. Okay, let's run it. Now let's load the list of all the matches for this competition and season we've chosen, which is World Cup. To do so, we need to go to the matches folder. Then we need to, the next folder will be the competition ID, and we'll put this variable over here. And the name of the file is seasonid.json. So we just put this season ID over here and add .json. And let's do this, and let's have a look what we got. Okay, great. So we have all these matches which took place during this World Cup competition. Now, why don't we print all the games in these competitions with their scores and match IDs? And to do so, we just loop over all the matches in this data set. Let's run it. And we have what? We have a home team name, which is Croatia in this example, away team name, Denmark, home score 1, away score 1, and my match ID, which is this one, right? So you see there are lots of matches that took place during this World Cup competition. Assume we don't want to see all the matches. We want to focus on one single team. For example, let it be Croatian team. To do so, we assign this Croatia, the name of the team, to the team variable. Let's run it. Now, assume we want to print all the Croatian matches and their scores, as well as match IDs. To do so, we'll execute the same loop just like we did before. but this time we also add if statement and check if home team or away team is equal to Croatia. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, now we see that Croatia had 7 matches during the World Cup competition. Let's dive into the final match, and the final match was France against Croatia. So to do so, we need to grab the match ID, and we can put it in the string over here, but I prefer to assign it to a variable match ID. Let's run it, and then use this match ID, and in the events folder, all the events of this match ID will be match ID.json. So we just substitute this. We use this match ID as a file name for our data we need. Okay, let's run it, and let's see what we got here. Okay, so we have lots of these events during this match, and it's okay to work with JSON if it's not that small or you don't want to manipulate it a lot, but it's much more easy to work with tabular data. Like it will look like Excel, for example, data, tabular, like tables. So why don't we convert this JSON data into data object, into pandas data frame? And we can do this with JSON normalize. Let's run this, okay? And let's print out first 5 strings, rows of this table. Okay, so basically it is the same data we had over here, just in a different format. But we have a little problem here. If you noticed, there are these 3 dots. It means there are lots of columns, and pandas just substitutes some number of columns between beginning and the end with these 3 dots, meaning there are more to show, but I will not show you. But we can force pandas to do so with this set option. Let's run it. And let's run the same events.head 5, which means we will display our first 5 events. Let's run it. And as you can see, there are no 3 dots anymore, and all the columns are here. So in this format, it's much more easy and comfortable for a person to actually analyze the data, to see, to look for, to check results, and so forth. Yeah, you can also, if you want to get some basic stats, you can also use describe method. It will load, it will calculate a load these statistics for each column. So for example, we see that there are roughly 3,000 events in this match, and you can explore these statistics if you want, but we don't need it for today. It just in case you are wondering how to get it. Now let's see how many times each event occurred during the match and what events are there in general. Okay, so we will display the type name, which is the event type name, and value counts will show you how many times each event occurred during this match. So we see this table with name of the event and number of occurrences. But these are combined statistics, meaning it is both for France and for Croatia. We can divide it and display separately for Croatia and for France. To do so, we need additionally to filter the possession team name as Croatia and as France. Let's run this and this one. So we have these events separated by team for Croatia and for France. We can, if you want to, we can even visualize those events. It makes no sense at this point because it says basically nothing except, okay, yeah, there are much more passes in one team than in another, but it just, I'm showing this visualization just for the sake of example that you can use visualizations. Okay, let's focus on Croatia. Let's run this. We're just seeing all the Croatian events. Okay, and suppose we want to see only the Croatian passes, only the passes that Croatia made during this match, and we also want to see who passed to whom, for example. But let's, first of all, these are the passes, and we also added location. So this is, let's have a look what we got. So we have only the Croatian passes. Then instead of displaying all these columns, most of which are useless in our case for the purposes of our task, so we will limit the display option with player name, who made the pass, with the player name, who got the pass, with the location of this player name. We can call it as a start location, and end location where this pass ended. Okay, suppose we want to analyze how often, for example, Mario Mandzukic made pass to Marcelo Brozovic, and in general, who passed to whom. We can do this by running this cell and this one. So what we do, basically, we combined the player's name in one row. So here it's Marcelo Brozovic and Luka Modric, for example, and then we just counted how many times this combination occurred during the match. So we see that Marcelo Brozovic have made 24 passes to Luka Modric. And on the other hand, we see that Luka Modric made 16 passes to Marcelo Brozovic. So combined, they made to each other 40 passes. You can calculate this as well if you want, but this is example just how you can work with this data. And basically, there are lots of cases, lots of opportunities for you to work with these data to explore, for example, not only passes. You can explore pressures, who pressures more, how you can also check passes, where they successful or not. You can check shots, for example. Or here we see that France made 8 shots while Croatia 15, for example. Yeah, there are lots of opportunities to analyze different situations, different events, and you can even draw a football pitch and visualize the location of players when the pass starts, and location of those of the player who got the pass. And you can even draw an error from one to another. Well, there are lots of opportunities to work with this data, and I encourage you to explore this data, to read more about this data in documentation, to better understand what is what. And yeah, another important and very useful thing, this open data, StatsBomb open data, is the same data structure, has the same data structure as StatsBomb paid data. It means that if you feel comfortable with working with open data, it means you are ready to go and work with all other StatsBomb data because it has the same format. So this open data is a perfect learning opportunity for you. Yeah, to use the StatsBomb data, general data in future. So I hope you like this video. Please subscribe, click like, and post your comments below. Thanks for watching.